Hello YouTube, it's Borders Dude here and I'm back with a video review today taking a look at Studio Series 86 Cyclonus. Like many people, I have been waiting an age to get a hold of this figure through those independent retailers, but he is here and to be honest, he's already been worth the wait. I'm very impressed with this robot mode right off the bat. He captures the animation model of Scourge absolutely perfectly. All the little details are there that you would expect. All that lovely sculpted detail here is present and correct. And of course the face sculpt itself is definitely the best rendition of Scourge we have seen, in my opinion. At least officially. I don't know about third party stuff, to be honest. The paint scheme is basic as you would expect. There's some paint there, most of it is plastic. Little details that I love is the difference between the hands. We've got a closed hand here, of course, and an open hand here with those rather strange pink fingernails that Scourge has, but it's still cool. It's nice to see something like that on a Transformer as opposed to an action figure. You don't get that too often with Transformers. He is obviously just a bit kibbly on the back there, but given what he transforms into, that's to be expected. It's still quite tidy, even though they still have those bits and pieces hanging at the back there. When you're looking at the robot mode itself, it's still very cool. Time to take a look at the articulation. Now the head is on a nice ball joint, but because he has the Elvis collars there, we can't really get a full turnaround on it. The same goes for the arm. You could get a full 360 if it wasn't for some of the alt kibble, but there is a shoulder joint there. We do get a bicep swivel, a single bend at the elbow. There's no articulation at all in the hand. If it can twist, I'm certainly not trying it because it's a really tight joint on my copy. We do get a waist swivel, which is very nice. The leg can do a fair bit of motion, but there is no thigh cut. We get a rather reasonable bend at the knee. And finally, there is an ankle tilt, but you really have to grab this part of the ankle, not the feet. So it's a fairly decent amount of articulation in the figure, but perhaps for a Studio Series line, we could do with a bit more. Scourge comes with two accessories. You get his blaster, and it's just done in a nice blue plastic that matches the paint on the figure itself. Sculpted very nice though. And you get an effects piece. Again, this is something that's only really been fairly recent in terms of Transformer stuff. It's mostly seen in their sort of Marvel Legends and Power Ranger Lightning Collection figures, but it's a cool addition to have with this figure. I would prefer another blaster or something, but like I've already said, really cool accessories. And for size comparison, the obvious one is of course Cyclonus, and he scales very well with Kingdom Cyclonus. And here's a wee deluxe as well, just to be added in for the fun. The camera angle's been changed, so you know it's time for transformation. The transformation itself is fairly straightforward with this figure, but you know what happens when you're on camera, it never goes right. So start with the easiest part. This bit's going to turn like so, nice and easy. Then we're going to remove this portion of the body with the arms, and this is just going to simply pull down all the way, and it's going to tab in to the leg with that post and that port there. Nice and easy. Like I say, doing it on camera, looking through the viewfinder makes a transformation sometimes seem a bit harder than it actually is. Same again with the other side. Well, that's them all tabbed in nicely. Go to the feet, flip in the heel spurs and then the feet, and then if you want you can just tab in those two bits together. Nice and easy. Going around the back now, we're going to take this part here, and that's just going to plug in to his head, giving him that almost G1-esque look for the head sculpt. Just move this stuff out the way because we're going to pull this back. Now this bit needs to come out, and it's an absolute pain to get if you don't have any fingernails, so get a tool or a car key as I've done there. We're going to pull that out. We're going to pull this whole mechanism back, so it looks something like that. And this is going to come in here. We just need to sort that out a little bit. And this is going to go over his face to conceal it, like so. We're then going to unpack these parts here. And now these are on hinges, these two sides here. I'm just going to bend them in, tab them together there, slot it in like so. We need to tidy up a few bits here. Remember to unfold the bottom flaps, which I didn't do. Easy done though, but easy fix. In mid transformation, so they're going to go over Scourge's arm. And there's tiny little tabs here that we just need to adjust at each side. And then it'll tab in at the back there, as you can see, with just a little bit of persistence and adjustments, and you'll get everything in. Once everything's tidied up, you've just got these two parts here, which just fold down. And there you go. There's Scourge in his alt mode. It's a fairly simple transformation. Like I said in camera, it sometimes takes a bit more effort, but it's fun. That's the most important thing about the transformation. It's definitely fun. Here is Scourge's alt mode, and it's been done to perfection for the Studio Series line, which is what the goal is of that line, to capture those movie, robot and alt modes as best they can to the animation model. And they've done this one really well. For a shell former too, you have to remember what this figure really is. This will probably, at least for some time, be the best version of Scourge we'll get from Hasbro and those official channels. Really impressed by it, 100%. And the only alt mode comparison that you really want to see is, of course, Scourge with Kingdom Cyclonus, proving that the G1 figures in the Kingdom line and the figures in the Studio Series 86 line really do complement each other. My final thoughts on Studio Series 86 Scourge. Now let's start with the positives. That face sculpt is striking. This is the best face sculpt a mainline retail Scourge has seen, as I've already mentioned, and I very much doubt it will be bettered for the foreseeable future from Hasbro. Unless you do a masterpiece version, perhaps. One can dream. The build quality on the figure is second to none. I have not had any issues with loose joints at all. In fact, some of the joints on my figure are maybe a bit too tighter than I would like. But in saying that, I would rather have tight joints on a figure than them being loose out of the box. The design itself does an extremely good job of capturing not only the robot mode, but also the alt mode from its animation counterpart. And that's something that Studio Series 86 has really done consistently well with all its releases, I feel. Now when it comes to the negatives, I've only really got two here. The first one being that there was a few paint splodges on my figure. Nothing really deal breaking, and you can only really see it if you look hard. It's really noticeable if you're looking for it on my figure, on one of the turbines in his alt mode, and a couple of other splodges here and there. The articulation is surprisingly limited for not only a Voyager figure, but a figure in the Studio Series 86 price point. But as you know, I'm not really the best when it comes to figure photography, but if you really want a nice looking Scourge and you really like getting those dynamic poses, then this could be something to put in the negative checklist in your box. But it's worth a pickup. Yes, it's very hard to get at the moment as of filming this review, but I'm sure his release will become more wide eventually. Plus, we're going to be getting the rumoured repaint of the sweeps, so you'll definitely be adding to not only your Cyclonus army, but your Scourge army with his sweeps. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you again soon with another video. There is nothing of an ankle tilt because I've just snapped that off, for fuck's sake. Hello YouTube, it is Border. Fuck off.